Hello guys, so today this video was actually shot. It's been about 24 hours. Just didn't have the time to edit it yet, so it's just another video about the Roxor. As you can see, winter is already here in full swing. It is quite cold, so it's been hard to get out and do videos. Problem we have here is not actually the cold, it's actually the wind. The wind chill just kills you. So right there I have the two heater options I have right now. On the right is one I got off of, I believe, either Amazon or eBay, and the left one I got it locally. Left one seems to be a sample that was submitted to a company for consideration, never was, and stayed in the box for a couple of years, and they decide to get rid of their inventory, so you might not find it on the market. The right one, you can easily find these on eBay. You can see the fittings. They look very thin, not very solid, but the whole concept of the right one, I like it. Dual fans, 6 outlets. And then I stumbled upon this one, which you have here in black. You have that black aluminum powder coated bracket. Has a bigger fan, and all around the construction just seems much more professional. It's more solidly built. You know, standard heaters, they come always with that little foam thing. I don't know if it's supposed to be there when you install or you have to take them off. It's got the vents over there, and at the very bottom it also has a vent, and I have the adapter for that vent. Now, just to compare the quality of the copper, you see on the left, on the right is just some poor quality copper, probably. I don't know if it's pure copper. On the left you see the high quality. Usually they choose copper for these applications because copper transmits heat very readily. And showing you the backside, there you have the fins and everything. And I'm gonna just zoom in here for a little bit. Just take a look. You see that screw? It's almost like it's about to pierce that copper piping. That scared me a lot, but all in all, I like the this little Chinese made heater. The whole concept behind it is solid. There you can see the fins. Everything here seems much more solid. So I brought everything into the cab. Here I'm trying to look for a home. You have those 4 blanks on the left that you can pop, and then you access the engine compartment with accessories, cabling, or whatever. So this is under the passenger footwell. I had a few droplets of water on my lens. Sorry about that blurring, but that's what it looks like. It actually has a fuse box underneath, and that's exactly where you have the windshield resting on there. You have the cigarette lighter. You have the cigarette lighter outlet we just went by. There you have the dash display. So it has 2 connections. I don't know if one is for the light and one for the data input, or if you disconnect one, maybe you could actually drive beyond 55 or 45 miles an hour without any repercussions. I'm not sure. I haven't tried that. So that's what it looks like underneath your dash. I am of a certain age, so it's no longer very easy for me to get in certain positions to try and explore what's underneath the dash of my Roxor. So that was just a brief show and tell of what's underneath the dash on the passenger side at the very least. And I tried to mock up these heaters. This first one, you see, I can put it somewhere there, kind of acceptable, and then you have the 3 outlets on each side. But I worry, in the future, I've seen people do a 3rd seat in the middle. Where will the person put their foot? Will they step on the fan and mess up everything? Still not clear to me. It seems like it's just logical to have it a little bit higher. And there is the one I actually prefer. And you have those four rubber blanks that you can see when you open up your hood. You can see them at the very top of the screen, not right now, but if I move the camera right there. And that's where most people channel the piping for the hot coolant from the engine into the cab. So those are the two positions. I'm not exactly sure what's behind those, but I believe there's quite a bit of room where you can actually drill through. So here is the Roxor. I took it out on a little road trip on a dirt road. Most of the time I'm on the paved surfaces. So everything out here were below freezing. So there is no dirt getting on the Roxor, as you can see. I'm very happy with my snorkel from Dirt Legal. You just have to drill one hole through the DFK cap and you have it secured. DFK cap also has seals for the doors. I still have mine. I haven't applied them yet, but I think I'm getting closer and closer to my final configuration. If you look at the top of my windshield, like approximately where you're supposed to have the wiper, I lost one of those plugs and I had to put a bit of tape. You might rewind a few seconds and you'll see that. So I put some tape over there. I believe I used one of the Gorilla tapes, I think it is, or duct tapes. I've forgotten what it was, but it's one of those high strength, high grip tapes. And even though it was placed on the inside because of aesthetic reasons, it held up pretty good. Here I'm going against a headwind. We usually have the winds coming from the north west. That's straight out of Canada, and they are pretty strong winds. So right now I'm going against a headwind, and everything held up pretty good. I also did the tape where I have that interface where I have the gasket between the windshield and the top of the rollover protection system. DFK did a good job. They did 2 gaskets, and if you look at their gaskets, they're not just any kind of gasket. They're heavy duty automotive grade gaskets, but just that the way the gaskets interfaced and everything, jive together, it just didn't work for me. So at higher speeds above 45 miles an hour, I would have these headwinds, multiplying everything, putting it closer to like 90, 100 miles an hour winds, and it will just get through into the cab. If you look at the front of the DFK hard cabs solution, you would also see that when air comes up the windshield, it gets dammed underneath the roof, and that builds up a pressure area right where you have those gaskets, and it will definitely let air leak through. So I had all of those factors working against me. Today I actually plugged the drain holes that you have on the floor pan. I blocked all of those with tape, just temporary blockage, because everywhere you have air leaking means that more air can come in from the outside. Other thing I realized was I used my temperature sensor to get the temperature of various components in the cab and outside, and I can definitely tell you that if you live in a colder area, you don't want during the winter months to have your cab colored something lighter. Black is the best because then it retains all the heat. Also, if you were thinking about tinting, like I thought about tinting all my windows, it's a pretty bad idea, especially in winter, because all that sunlight comes in at a certain wavelength, bounces in the cab, and then gets trapped because it can't leave. It lives at a different wavelength, so it discharges all of the heat inside the cab, helps to keep the cab warm. So like today I didn't have any gloves on, we're below freezing, and here I am driving, I would say about 50 miles an hour without any issues at all. And I have to commend some guys take away their, I guess they call it a sway bar. A sway bar basically connects your left and your right front shaft, so that when you step on something on the right front, it basically lowers the left side, so you don't feel like the cab or the vehicle is gonna roll over. I think in some other countries they call it an anti-roll bar or something like that. So when guys want to go wheeling, like most guys who buy the Roxor, they disconnect that. Mine, everything is still bone stock. Only thing I did was change the wheels, and I got quite change the wheels, put in wheel spacers, and I have quite a bit of lift just by doing that. Everything is stock. I worry a lot because until I see something that's proven, you don't just want to go and get a 6-inch lift, 7-inch lift like some of the vehicles at SEMA. Those are show vehicles. People don't actually drive them on a daily basis. Like I drive this one out here in the boondocks. Nobody notice. I haven't gone. No vehicle has gone past me. There's just nobody out here. So you need reliable vehicles out here. You don't want to go and put a lift that you broke a drive shaft. And usually out here I drive solo. Take a look at the steering wheel. I'm going pretty fast. It just tells you how solid and stable these Roxors are, especially if you have everything done right. That cab is quite heavy, so I lost quite a bit of my ground clearance. It doesn't seem that much to me, but I have the side steps, which I got for, I think, dealers were giving those for free. Valili Sports and Marine in Minot, they were gonna give that to me for free, but just for the sake of convenience, I just didn't have the time. They actually told me to stop by, grab one. I went online and it was just about $30, $40, I think, and I grabbed one. So yeah, those help, because these things, you think 9 inches is not very tall. Some of us older guys, we have quite a hard time stepping into our Roxors. I had a Carhartt on this day, and like somebody had mentioned in one of the forums, yeah, that dog catch for the DFK hard cab, it might get you. So just be careful, be mindful of it. But the benefits of the hard cab far outweigh the negatives. I really love my DFK hard cab. At the very front, I have a little bit of air leaking through. Not an issue for me because at any rate, you always need fresh air in the cab, so that's really not a problem. So that just shows you a little bit about what I have to deal with. You can drive for hours and hours all the way to the Canadian border, cross into Canada on a farm or whatever, or the farmstead, and you won't meet any single soul. So my vehicle has to be reliable and ready for off-roading, and that's why I got this Roxor. Now, this is just to show you something I found. I haven't tested it yet, but underneath the dash, you have that switch that says LED light. So I'm thinking that it might be hooked somehow to these blank plugs for you to plug in, the little cubes that you have towards the front headlight front mirrors, rear view mirrors. So those who have had the Mahindra light bar, you could test that and see when you turn on the light bar if those switches plugs become hot. This is just a few shots of the roads I travel. It's Roxor country, like I call it. Very beautiful, blue skies, nobody to bug you, friendly neighbors, and yeah. So this is what I ended up with. I went through the pain, and I had to get a new dictionary after I I heard about what it was to get those plugs out. Sorry about that. Those plugs are actually on the dash, on the left side of the driver. This was earlier in the day, and here I am just basically scanning for temperatures inside the cab. Reason I have my car on the other side was I was exposed to the cold for a little bit longer than necessary. So I brought the other car, started it up, turned on the heat, and after every so few minutes, I'll run in there to warm up. That's the tip I told you guys about. I lost a plug. There's a plug there for the windshield wiper washer set. I thought that was a priority for me, but here in my neck of the woods, rainy season doesn't last very long. And I called the guys at the good guys at Dirt Legal. They hooked me up with a windshield washer wiper kit from DFK to complement what I have already. Price was quite steep, and I had to determine, what was my priority. So I still have that on standby. Hopefully, before I pull the trigger on that, I contact them and they confirm the price is still the same. But yeah, that's your one-stop shop for anything Roxor. Those guys will work with you, and you have any questions, like any solution that you need, they will tell you exactly what you need. And it was such a pleasure working with them. I got my cab through Dirt Legal. Fabulous guys to work with, easygoing. They love this product. So right here, I'm going a bit slower because the black top picked up the sun's rays, warmed it up, and melted the snow. So if I go too fast, then I'll get the whole rocks out dirty. But when I turned right onto that dirt road, on the left, it's all the blacktop. It's paved. Not much fun going out there. The real test for the Roxor is when you get on these dirt roads. Boy, oh boy, was I happy. This thing tracks straight like an arrow. Look at my steering wheel. And compare this with some of those old James Bond movies where he's driving in Paris or Rome, and then you see him, the steering wheel, he's just turning it left, right, everywhere. This is what I call a solid track. Like if you capture you capture your glide point on a GPS approach, and your plane and your autopilot, everything is set up right, your plane just holds that track. You don't have to do anything. This is what I feel when I'm driving this Roxor. On the very right of the screen, you can see some snow fleckles coming in. Those came from the windshield, from the roof, from wherever. And yeah, they filter in. I know there's a leak right there. I can see it. I can bolster the leak by putting some more padding, but I also think that that lets some fresh air come in. That way your windshield doesn't really fog up, and you're not airtight. That's what principally causes windshields glasses to fog up in vehicles. Snow melts from your boots and everything from the heat inside the vehicle, and there's nowhere for the stale air to get out, and then you start having condensation on your windshield. So I know I need a little bit of ventilation, and I'm very okay with the little bit that's coming in right now. This car is not meant to be a speed demon. I'm very content using it on these back roads. Thankfully, our state, our local legislators, they provide enough funding to keep our roads in good shape. As you can see, there's no roads, there's nothing. These roads, some of them are used by oil tankers, and those things weigh a lot of pounds, tens of thousands of pounds. So lawmakers make sure that everything is well taken care of. Right now, the humidity is very low, so I don't worry too much about the snow melting and not finding a route to get out of the cab. You can see up there where I sealed everything up. That's where the air was coming in from, the cold air. So basically, it's very cold right now. It's about, I would say, about 5 to 10 degrees below freezing on the Fahrenheit scale. and about 5 degrees on the centigrade scale. And I'm not feeling cold at all. I didn't come out with a glove, just have my cold weather clothing, thermals underneath, my jean, and then not even my thermal boots, just my regular, you know, shoes I would wear to walk around Central Park in New York. So I'm not feeling cold at all, because the big issue here in North Dakota is when you step out and you get that wind chill. That's what sucks the heat from your body, and it becomes a danger. So long as you're enclosed and you have a barrier against the wind, you're good to go. And this comes to it brings us to another issue I had. Pretty much for almost a year, when I had my Roxor, I spent it without any covering of any sort. Nobody told me. I had no idea until I got my windshield from India and I put it on, and it was like night and day, just a windshield. So I think at the very minimum, this should come with DOT approved windshields, the foldable type or whatever type you want to give, but at the very minimum. I know it might encourage people who don't not very responsible to take this at higher speeds, but at the very minimum, because even if you're in Louisiana, Texas, Alabama, Florida, you still have those bugs coming at you, getting into your teeth. So yeah, when I put the windshield on, it was like a revelation. I felt so different. Everything changed just because I put on a windshield. So I'm very pleased with what my setup right now. My old stuff, I don't really need them. Unfortunately, I don't have many fellow Roxor people in my neck of the woods, because I'm trying to get rid of the stuff which I got from other vendors. So yeah, so this is all Roxor country. You've seen I've driven so many miles in one direction. It's just a UTV heaven out here. I would love to have some more challenging places to drive at. Moab would be one, but I think I saw a report online where somebody had to pay like $300 for a day, which is just crazy. But well, for a Roxor, it's worth it. So let's come back to my humble setup I was trying to make, and I realized putting splicing in something from a truck won't work as easy as I thought. So there you go. That's what those plugs look like. The big issue is you have two things that you actually have to press upon. If you press on one and you start pulling out, the other one bumps up and then becomes something that you have to fight against. As you notice on mine, they actually got broken. It's not very visible right now, but you have those tabs you have to push upon. And what they don't tell you is that those tabs is not one. I was pushing on the middle, whereas the tabs are on the sides. There's two of them. And if you look very well in the past few seconds, you'll see one of the tabs is both, one on at the top, one at the bottom, actually got broken. So you might use your screwdriver, think that you actually got the tab. You haven't. There's one guy from Canada, a big Roxor fan. He has the actual solution. He has a wide tipped, some kind of a spreader or whatever you can want to call it, and that one covers both sides of those tabs that you have to push down. So you push down on both tabs at the same time, but with a screwdriver you push down on just one. When you start pulling out, then you'll be fighting against the other one, because it's gonna get crushed and jammed against your dash. So these are just a few pictures of my Roxor, me jumping in. Pretty cool day. Have my hoodie on, looking like a SWAT vehicle, and driving off. I love the rear window, wide enough, you can see a lot. Those side panels, it's a huge blind spot. Thinking about seeing my glass cutter and making some opera windows over there. And this is just another random shot just to show you guys that even though the Roxor, we use it here like a pickup truck, in other countries it was designed as a passenger vehicle. So if you look at the right of your screen, you see where you have the lock unlock button. You see, it doesn't have a, you see right there. That's how you lock. You can actually lock the tailgate. It doesn't serve any purpose here. Actually, would prefer a tilt down bed where you can tilt the bed down and then slide things on there, slide things on, and then push it back on. But this was configured initially for a passenger vehicle. My colors are still vibrant thanks to the guys at Mahindra Automotive North America who do the painting. Always a good thing when you have your vehicle hand painted, not painted by robots. Hand built, not built by robots. Right here in the United States, in an ISO 2001 certified factory. It's always a good thing. A few temperatures there, centigrades, -9. The cab heats up pretty good with the sunlight, and then the clear glass actually lets in quite a lot of light. So the cab, using the greenhouse effect, actually warms up, and that's that dam I was telling you guys about. The air comes, slams on the windshield, tries to escape towards the top, and then gets captured by that overhang on the roof. And then now you have that area of high pressure right underneath that roof, and it forces itself inside into the cab. So that's why I had to put the tape to seal everything up. The cab itself, very generous. Make sure you use your steps. And then here I got caught by the door catch. I'm thinking the center of my steering wheel, I would like to have that heritage emblem. So far we haven't seen anything about the new grill. The Los Angeles Auto Show, which is the last big event for the year for the automotive world, supposed to start on the 5th of November. I've been checking the Mahindra Automotive North America website every 3 hours to 5 hours. Nothing yet about the lift, but we certainly love the Coastal Cruiser. The Marshall, I believe, has that lift, but they haven't said anything. They're just quiet, so kind of a bit a downer, because we were hoping for big announcements, even a press release, even somebody from Mahindra talking about the products they have on display at SEMA 2019. It's just been silent. So all what we have is from YouTubers. They've tweeted a few pictures, and I actually had a picture on my YouTube account, and I had to take it down because I felt that was disrespectful. So many people put in so many hours of work, hard work, labor, love, and I thought that it was kind of a bit premature to show their handiwork. And we were all expecting that Mahindra would come out and make a statement, explain the philosophy behind the Coastal Cruiser and the Marshall. None of that happened so far, so kind of it's a little bit of a letdown. We're waiting on the connectivity options that they announced, and also the lift. The lift is one of the huge ones for me. I know ultimately I might end up having to buy the Mahindra factory setup, so that way once I connect my heater, I have the right harness. I'm very much against, because I've seen what has happened to Jeep guys. You buy a Jeep, get in there, and it's a rat nest. You can't figure out what wire goes to where. I want to keep my Roxor stock or just have a plug and play connectors. So want to thank you guys for watching. Kind of a long ranting video, but we all love our Roxors, and that's why we're here. And so far I'm so very pleased with mine. Wouldn't have it otherwise. DFK did a good job with the hard caps, and yeah, so just a few pictures of my Roxor, and very pleased with it. Performs like advertised. Thanks for watching. See you guys on the next one.